Washington, CNN, Nebraska is holding the nation's first in-person statewide election in more than a month on Tuesday.
A record number of Nebraska voters have cast their ballots early amid the coronavirus pandemic, and election officials told CNN they are expecting a light turnout on Tuesday. Early ballot returns have already exceeded total statewide votes cast in the 2016 presidential primary, according to Nebraska Secretary of State Bob Evnen.
Visit CNN's Election Center for full coverage of the 2020 race.
Polls are open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Central Time, and early ballots need to be received by county election officials by 8 p.m. Central Time on Tuesday.
In an effort to minimize the risk of spreading coronavirus, poll workers and voters will be provided with masks and will have to abide by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's social distancing guidelines and stay 6 feet apart.
Voting booths and the sleeves that carry the ballots will be wiped down after each person is finished voting, according to the Nebraska Secretary of State's office. Every polling location will receive kits that include at least 4 N95 masks and a face shield per poll worker, 25 pairs of gloves, a 540 milliliter bottle of hand sanitizer, a canister of disinfecting wipes and individual black pens for each voter to keep. Masks will also be available for voters who need them.
Douglas County Election Commissioner Brian Cruz told CNN there will be no "I voted" stickers handed out in the two most populated counties in the state, Douglas County and Lancaster County.
It's one less touchpoint between the poll workers and the voters, Cruz said.
The primary will decide how many delegates are allocated to former Vice President Joe Biden, the Democratic Party's presumptive presidential nominee, and to Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont. Though Sanders dropped out of the race last month, clearing the way for Biden, he decided to remain on the primary ballot in order to amass as many delegates as possible, as part of an effort, he said, to exert significant influence over the party platform and other functions at this summer's convention.
The last in-person primary took place April 7 in Wisconsin, where state officials were roundly criticized by candidates and health experts for moving forward with in-person voting. At least 19 people in Wisconsin who said they voted in person or worked the polls for the state's election tested positive for coronavirus, according to the state health department.
Unlike Wisconsin, we didn't have a mass consolidation of polling places, Cruz told CNN. We started out with 222 and we have 200 tomorrow in Douglas County. So that's also going to help voters spread out to their proper polling place. So we're not going to have tons of voters, push into just a few polling places.
Nebraska Assistant Secretary of State Cindy Allen told CNN she doesn't expect there to be lines at the polling locations because of how many people have already mailed in their ballots.
Allen said the polls will be well-staffed, and that many young people, members of local service clubs, realtors, attorneys and certified public accountants volunteered to take the places of poll workers who were in the higher-risk age category. The National Guard in Nebraska has volunteered to be on call to staff polls if needed, she said.
Several down-ballot races are also taking place on Tuesday.
Republican Senator Ben Sasse, who has served in the U.S. Senate since 2015, is running for re-election and on the ballot for Tuesday's Republican primary. Sasse, who has the backing of President Donald Trump, is being challenged by former Lancaster County GOP Chairman Matt Innes. Sasse's Senate seat has been categorized by the Cook Political Report as solid Republican. 7 Democrats are on the ballot for the Democratic Senate primary: Dennis Frank Masek, Chris Janacek, Larry Marvin, Angie Phillips, Alicia Shelton, Daniel M. Wick and Andy Stock.
Representative Jeff Fortenberry, who has served since 2005, is running for re-election unopposed in the Republican primary for Nebraska's 1st congressional district. Babs Ramsey and Kate Bowles are on the ballot for the Democratic primary.
In Nebraska's 2nd Congressional District, Representative Don Bacon, who has served since 2017, is running for re-election and faces challenger Paul Anderson in the Republican primary. Kara Eastman, Ann Ashford and Gladys Harrison are on the ballot in the Democratic primary.
Republican Representative Adrian Smith, who has served since 2007, is running for re-election against Larry Lee Scott Bollinger, William Elfgren, Justin Moran and Aaron Kowalski in Nebraska's 3rd Congressional District. Mark Ellsworth Jr. is running unopposed in the Democratic primary.